Hello and welcome to the Flix Forum podcast, where each episode we go back and we look at a Netflix original film in the order of release. Today we have Netflix 396th film from 2021. It is the South Korean horror film called The Eighth Night. This one is directed by Kim Tae-hyoung and stars Lee Sung-min, Park Hae-joon, Kim Yoo-jung and Nam Da-reum. I'm Jesse, I'm your host. Thanks for joining me today for this Netflix original film. As always, if this is a film you haven't seen and you're interested in checking it out, please give us a pause and come back a little bit later on because we will spoil this film as we go. As is often the case with international films, it's sometimes a little bit hard to find anything out about the film, and how it was made and how it ended up on Netflix. So this might be a fairly short discussion, but let's kick it off with the Fast Flicks, where we do a quick little summary of what the film is all about. So this one, it's about a demon that's let loose and has 8 people to track down in 8 nights to restore its power, and a bunch of monks want to stop it. Ooh, there we go. This is interesting. It's sort of set up as a horror film, but it's not quite a horror film. But we'll talk about that a little bit more. So, obviously, the title of the film, The Eighth Night, it's in reference to if this demon can possess everyone it needs by the 8th night, then it becomes this big power that's almost going to create evilness across the world, I guess the best way of putting it. So in the Chinese, it's called Night 8. The rest of it all just played on the idea of this 8th night being that night. The tagline for this is, "Don't you dare open your eyes." This ties in with the film a little bit because the eyes are the actual myth, I guess, is about these 2 eyes coming together that create this power. So I'm not sure about opening it because that sort of ties in that if you open your eyes, you die because it's a horror film sort of thing. So I don't know, a little bit not sold on bits and pieces of this film. The cast for the film, they were announced in May of 2019, which is the same month that filming began on May the 19th, wrapped on September 26, 2019. The film was shot in Suwon, Incheon, Paju, Daejeon, Daegu, and Yeongyang County in Korea, South Korea. It also had some shots in Kazakhstan, which is, there's some desert shots which are included sort of at the start and the end of this film as well. It was going to be released in 2020, but was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic and therefore ended up on Netflix on the 2nd of July, 2021. What are the critics and audiences saying about this film? On Rotten Tomatoes, it's at 71%. That is fresh. Only on 7 reviews, though. The audience, a little bit lower, fair bit lower, 39%. That's on more than 50 ratings, so I wouldn't say very positive there. IMDb, 5.3 out of 10 from a bit over 5,000 ratings, so sort of halfway mark. Again, not too solid. Same on Letterboxd, only a 2.5 out of 5 on a bit over 10,000 ratings and has been logged by 14,000 people. And on Metacritic, there's nothing there. So that's where we're at. I guess a bit of a mixed bag reception-wise. What are my early thoughts on this film? I can sort of understand why people might not like this film. It is fairly long, and I guess if you're sold on this being a horror film through the trailer and through the tagline and through the posters, you expect to see a horror film. It's not a horror film, though. It's a thriller. This is a thriller film. However, so as a thriller film, I found it effective, even if it was drawn out. So positive for me. I did enjoy this film. I thought it was well made. So let's talk about the characters in this film. This is a tricky one. So we've got Park Jin-soo, who also known as Seonhwa. This is a man who was never actually ordained as a monk. Wanted to be a monk, but stepped away because of something that happened in his life, which we'll talk about. And I have said there are spoilers, so some big spoilers coming up here if you haven't seen the film. So he never became a monk. So he's working this sort of meaningless job in construction, but he ends up on this quest because he used to be an exorcist, and he's been called by the monks to hunt this demon and destroy it. So he has trauma in his life because his family were killed by a drunk driver, and throughout the reveal of the film, we find out that this character that he's teamed up with for a majority of the film, Cheong Seok, it's revealed very late in the film that it was his family that killed, Cheong Suk's family were the ones that had the car accident that killed his own family. So he's a bit old, he's a bit sullen, he's almost the opposite of this, who he becomes his buddy, Cheong Seok. So Cheong Seok is a monk in training, and he's taken this vow of silence, and is sent by his master, who passes away, to go and find this Park Jin-soo guy. This kid's young, he's naive, he's very goofy, And because of his vows he's taken, I guess, he misses a lot of things in life that a young person should experience because of the vows that he's taken as well. And like I said, very naive in his actions throughout as well. The other sort of narrative we see as this is playing out, these guys chasing the demon, is the police that are chasing or trying to find the person that's killing all these people. So they don't necessarily know it's a demon, but they're sort of detectives investigating homicide. So Detective Kim Tae-hyoung, this is the main cop, and he's chasing these mysterious deaths. And I guess he doesn't believe in the supernatural, unlike his younger partner Don Jin, and so Don Jin's a young cop, and he seems to be forever in debt of Kim Tae-hyoung because he saved him from drowning when he tried to commit suicide, and because of this, it was easy for the demons to mark him out and become a part of this plan as well. And he obviously believes in the supernatural and talismans and things like that, unlike the older, more experienced detective Kim Ho-tae. The last character, I guess, is Aran. She's a very interesting character, and I guess she needs a little bit of a breakdown, which sort of helps explain the plot a bit, because the back end, there's a lot going on in this film in the way that it's told, and a lot that's sort of left open to interpretation. So I think, like, she was first seen at the bus or the bus terminal or the train station when Cheong-suk goes to the city to go and try and find Park Jin-soo, and the last of the 7 steps of this demon that's chasing it down is this virgin shaman. So Cheong-suk and as he works with Park Jin-soo, they believe that this is Aran, but it's not her. She's a bit of I guess she was a ghost. She'd already passed away. She'd been used and abused by the person, the guy at the start who's trying to summon these demons to prove that he's right as well. So the real virgin was trapped in the house, and Park Jin-soo, when he wanted to kill this demon, he couldn't do it because he felt so innocent, and he thought that she was so innocent, and I guess this is that Aran deceiving them into believing that she was the virgin, and that's why Cheong-suk took her away, because of that innocence that she showed off as well. So very, very interesting sort of character. And I guess at the end as well, we sort of see that this Cheong-suk goes to the desert with the casket from the start, and Aran is standing there with chains around her legs. So that spirit that was chained by the demon is now free. Cheong-suk frees her as well. So interesting little end to that film as well about this character Aran. The director of this film, Kim Tae-hyoung, literally the only credit that is on IMDb is that they've directed and written this film, and it's not very often you see that, but I also understand that IMDb is a very Western platform, so possibly a high chance that a lot of their work hasn't actually been documented on IMDb as well. All right, some scenes. What are some scenes that worked? What are some scenes that didn't work in this film? Things that were okay. The introduction at the start of the mythology behind Buddha and the eyes and what it meant got me hooked. I thought it was really done visually on the screen as well. The moment where Park Jin-soo takes Cheong-suk to this burger joint to get him food. He's obviously missed food being in this monastery, and he enjoys a good feed. And he has a look at the counter in this burger shop, and there's this good-looking girl at the counter getting ice cream, and he looks at her, and Park Jin-soo is like, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me!" That, temptation of a woman straight away. And I laughed. I thought that's funny. But then it's a quick cut to him eating ice cream. So it wasn't about the girl. Like, it was just about these small things in life that he'd missed, including ice cream. So I thought that was well played out. And after the final battle at the end, there's this cool shot of Park Jin-soo against a tree. The camera spins around to focus on him. I thought that was really, really good as well. A couple of things that didn't work in this one for me, like some laughable stuff. There's this scene where there's this fishnet almost thing that Kim Ho-tae, the detective, uses on his head to keep an ice pack on after his run-in with Park Jin-soo. I thought that was quite laughable. Kim Ho-tae, as the cop trying to follow Park Jin-soo around the alleyways of the Virgin's house, it just dragged on for so long, and there was no tension in that. That was a bit ordinary. Cheong-suk saves Aran, and they're on the run. She takes her from the house to go to the forest. They're on the run, and he offers her his shoes to her because she has no shoes, and just happens to find some in the trash on the road nearby. I thought this was laughable. I know that later in the film this turns out to be a key plot point, but it just felt so lazy at the time that they could use the shoes as the representation of the ghost and the demon. I don't know, it just was a little bit lazy. And finally, Park Jin-soo and Cheong-suk, they set up this lure for the demon at the end, and there's all this chanting and fire, and it just went on too long. Like, if this film had a good edit with some of these extended scenes, it would have felt a lot tighter. Some themes, some ideas. There's obviously around that stigma around self-harm and suicide in Asian culture, because these are easy targets for this demon. the eyes, these eyes that are part of the demon, the anxiety represented by the black eye and agony represented by the red eye, and that's what forms this devil, I guess. And Buddha took the eyes of the devil and locked them in different parts of the world. So if humanity is stuck with both of these things, like anxiety and agony, forever, life wouldn't be very fun. And human fate too. What happens when people are meant to die, but something prevents this from happening? And does this change the process of the universe? We see this sort of mentioned very very directly at the end of the film to Detective Kim Tae about saving his partner in the past, Dong Jin, who sort of stuffed up or ruined the process of what the world was meant to be as well. There's a little bit about skepticism around psychics as well, and sometimes, and this is very blatant in your face, but the idea of eyes, and sometimes an eye for an eye or revenge isn't the best tactic, and that's played out at the end of the film as well. What did I take away from this film? I think the mythology of the whole thing is explained in the opening, and I liked the way they did that visually and through narration. And then pretty much the exact same story is again told to Cheon-suk a few minutes later. Like, as an audience, we got that. We don't need him to hear the story as well. And the other thing, like this devil or demon sort of thing, it's like a black smoke monster. And at times I thought I was watching Lost, the television show. It reminded me very much of the effects of that black smoke monster from Lost. But I guess this film gave a bit more of an explanation as to what the black smoke actually was, because Lost definitely did not. All right, some questions, some pondering, some thoughts to finish this off. The police, when they're investigating these murders, these bodies are shrunken out by this demon, and they call out an APB. Like, this seems like a very American thing. I know that, and I'm obviously watching in Korean with English subtitles, and I know the subtitles were probably done for an American audience, but like all points bulletin APB, like, what's the actual Korean equivalent? I probably would have liked to have seen that in the film. And I'm also not very versed in the monk way or the monk life. But the mute Cheon-suk, he needed help with his food every time we saw him eating food, like taking it out and put back in his bowl or his burger reorganized. If you understand this, please let me know. I'm very interested in what that means. And is that permission to eat, or I'm not sure. I also couldn't help but think what a dumb detective Kim Tae was. You've got this final battle where he's like thrown across the whole woods by this possessed Dong Jin, and obviously a very big throw. It's not like a normal human throw, so that would have thrown him off surely. But then he gets back up and shoots the people who are attacking his possessed partner. Just felt super dumb and not needed. And Cheon-suk, he has this eye in the casket at the end of the film to return it to the desert where it was found in the first place at the start of the film. Surely, now that people know where it was, that you go and find a different hiding spot. It just felt weird. I was like, go find somewhere different. You don't want these eyes getting back out. You've got to find a different hiding spot. Other than that, I'm ready to wrap this one up. On the show, we give films a rating out of 5. For me, like, I was intrigued enough to follow along and stick through, even if it was a bit too long. And if you take it for what it is, it's super effective. There's good CGI, good practical effects, a few good storylines throughout that make you think the whole way through. And the multiple storylines, they make it worth a watch as well. So I'm giving this a 3.5 out of 5. Solid score from me. We're on socials. We are on Instagram. We're on Facebook, and we're on X, formerly known as Twitter. The question that, this is to tie in with the ideas of monks as well, but the question I wanted to put on socials was, when we're forced to be quiet, then we only truly hear. Is that true? Is that the idea? Obviously, this film is about eyes and the impact that these eyes can have if they're joined together. But the idea of quietness and listening and taking in your surrounds through your senses, I thought it was a nice little play as well, that you've got the idea of monks who can't speak. You've got eyes that are joined together to create this thing. So, and obviously taste plays a big part, as I mentioned before, in the food that Cheon-suk goes through as well. So, there's lots to like about this film. Other than that, we are back next week. We are back next week with a film from 2021. This is a supernatural slasher film. It's called Fear Street Part 1, 1994. It's directed by Lee Yannick and stars Kiana Madeira, Olivia Scott Welch, Benjamin Flores Jr., Julia Rayholt, Fred Hutchinger, Ashley Zuckerman, Daryl Britt Gibson, and Maya Hawke. So give that one a watch. A little bit of a spoiler for next week. When this film came out, I did put out a bonus episode, so I'm not going to re-record the episode. I'm going to re-release the episode of this film, so you'll be listening to me in the past when this one comes out. So I hope you do enjoy it, but we will be back the week after, keeping us going through the Netflix original film catalogue. As always, thanks for joining me today, and I will see you next week. Not really, but a couple of weeks later. Bye.